Hello everyone, Chris here, and welcome to lesson 2 of this 5-day challenge. Thank you very much to everybody who watched lesson 1, and it was also great to see so many of you doing the task, posting below the video. Thank you very much for that. It's going to make a huge difference to your progress if you do the task. So let's look at what we're going to do each day. It's the second day. You've probably seen this already, but just to remind everybody, because we've been getting lots of questions about this, each day we'll post a lesson at 9 a.m. UK time. We're going to set you a challenge that you must complete at the end of each lesson. And then I give collective feedback at 6 p.m. UK time in a live lesson. The first lesson at 9 a.m. isn't live. You can watch that whenever you want. The live lesson at 6 p.m. it is live, so you can come and interact and join with me and ask me questions, but you don't have to. And that 6 p.m. lesson is also stored and will be uploaded to the group, so you won't lose anything. So let's remind ourselves again what we're doing this week. So yesterday, what we did was we focused on how to first approach the question, how to fully understand, analyze the question, think of ideas. And now today, what we're going to do is we're going to look at the final stage of planning, which is structure planning. And we're going to look at a lot of structure today and help you out with that and show you some samples as well. And on Wednesday, what we're going to do is we're going to focus on helping you develop your main ideas. This is something that is so important if you're hoping to get a 7 or above. And then on Thursday, we're going to look at vocabulary. And then on Friday, we're going to look at grammar. Vocabulary is 25% of your total mark. Grammar is 25% of your total mark. So very important lessons coming up at the end of the week. So everything will be stored for you until the end of the week. So you can watch these sessions at any time, but they will be deleted after 7 days. And it's important that you try and keep up with the challenges. The worst thing you can do is say to yourself, oh, I'll do it next Sunday, or I'll do it at the end of the week. Because something will happen, you'll get busy, or, your friends will ask you to go and do something, or work will get in the way. Try and keep on top of them. Try and keep doing them and getting them done, and you're going to see a huge improvement if you do that. And I'll always choose the best examples and the things you need to work on, and we'll give you feedback in the feedback sessions. Okay, just to reiterate as well, there are 5 different types of Task 2 question. We cannot do them all this week. What we're going to focus on today, and what we're going to focus on for most of the week, are discussion questions. So the structure and the samples and everything that we'll be looking at today will just be about discussion questions, because we can't look at all of them for, obviously for time reasons. We won't be able to get them all done. But today, let's focus on discussion questions. So what particular things are we going to do today? So we're going to be looking at the final stage of planning. We talked about the first 2 stages in the first lesson. Now we're going to look at the third stage, which is to do with structure. And then very importantly, I'm going to give you your second challenge, your second task. So this video should be hopefully around 30 minutes, something like that, maybe a bit less than that. And the challenge will take you 5 to 10 minutes, something like that. Okay, so let's talk about ideas and about structure, because these are 2 very different things. They're 2 things that a lot of you ask for. They are 2 things that a lot of you struggle with, but they are connected in a way. So it's really important that you're aware of that. If you have bad ideas, it doesn't matter how good your structure is. And if you have a poor structure, it does not matter how good your ideas are. So they're connected in a way. A lot of people think that if you get a good structure, or you get a good teacher who teaches you a good structure, that it guarantees a high score. That is complete nonsense. It depends on so many different things, including grammar and vocabulary, obviously. But it also depends on your ideas. If your ideas are bad, a good structure is not going to help you. At the same time, if you're using a poor structure, good ideas are not going to help you. Imagine baking a cake with poor ingredients, the ideas, or a bad recipe, the structure. If you have poor ingredients, it doesn't matter how good the recipe is, you're not going to be able to bake a nice cake or whatever it is you want to make. If you have a bad recipe, it doesn't matter if you have very high quality ingredients, you're still not going to be able to do a good job. So it's really important that you have both of them. So there's 3 stages of planning. So yesterday we looked at question analysis. We also looked at idea generation. And the final stage of planning is something I call structure planning. So first, before we get into the particular structure, what I want to do is just talk about some myths and some things that a lot of you believe about structures that they're just not true. The reason why I want to talk about this is it's one of the main reasons students fail, because they have these misconceptions about structures. So, first of all, before we look at why structures are good, what are structures not good for? So they're not a magic bullet. A magic bullet is like a secret sauce, a trick, or a shortcut that you just use that and you'll get a high score. That is nonsense, alright? Your score is dependent on so many different things. Structure is a small part of it. It's an important part of it, but it's only a small part of it. So it's not a magic bullet. Also, there's no such thing as one correct structure. There are many different ways to write an essay. There are many correct ways. There are also many incorrect ways of doing that. But one thing that I see a lot is my teacher told me to do it this way, and then a student will argue with them and say, my teacher told me to do it this way. Both students might be correct. Both teachers might be correct. Both teachers might be incorrect also. So there are lots of correct structures, but there are also a lot of incorrect structures. And 2 students could use the exact same structure, and one student could get a band 5 and the other student could get a band 9. The point I'm trying to get across is structures do help, but they are not as important as you think. So why use structures at all? Why are they important? Why do I emphasize them in this lesson? So first of all, it allows you to organize your thoughts. You're going to be very stressed out. There's a lot of information going through your brain. A structure allows you to organize everything in a predefined fashion, in something that you have learned and that you can reproduce in the test. So it's something that you can rely upon and that you know that if you're doing it correctly, that it's really going to help you. The other thing that it does, it's a checklist of things that you need to do. Like the structures that I teach my students, they help them paraphrase the question, outline their main ideas, give their opinion, create topic sentences, explanations, examples, summary of main points, all of these different things that are really important. And what they do is if you follow that structure, it just ticks off all of those important things, so that in the exam you can do those important things. And also it creates a map for your answer. What I like to do with my students is get them to plan first. So analyze the question, think of your ideas, create a structured plan, and do all of that thinking and create a map for your answer so that when you're writing, you're focusing on writing. This is the way my brain works. This is the way most people's brains work, is they like to focus on one thing at a time. So if you don't plan and you don't have a structure, you're writing and you're thinking and you're messing it up. And then this has probably happened to a lot of you where you're halfway through an essay and you're just like, this is terrible, I have to go back, and you delete everything and you waste time and it's a mess. Think about it like Google Maps. Would it be faster to get to your destination with Google Maps? Or would it be a longer journey because you just don't know where you're going? People who plan and people who have a structure tend to know what they're doing and know where they're going on test day. People who don't get confused, they waste time, they make lots of mistakes. So we want to minimize those things. So structure planning, the 3rd stage of our planning stage. So you should have a defined structure for each type of essay. So we talked about all of the different types of essays. The way that I teach my students is that there is a defined structure for each one of those different types of essays. You can take your ideas, explanations, examples, etc. and insert them into your structure. This means you can focus on writing after you finish planning. Note that using a structure does not replace the need for everything else you need to do. Okay, so I'm restating this point because it is so important. Do not think that structure is a replacement for thinking and developing your ideas and vocabulary and grammar and all of these important things that you need to do. So, discussion, basic structure. So let's look first at the basic structure and then let's look at each paragraph in more detail. So just to say again, this is for discussion questions. It is not for all the other types of question. So paragraph 1, introduction. Paragraph 2, side you disagree with. So remember, you're discussing both sides. Paragraph 3, side you agree with. And paragraph 4 is your conclusion. So your introduction, paragraph 2, paragraph 3, that's your main body. Paragraph 4 is your conclusion. Now, don't worry if you don't understand that fully yet. We're going to get into more detail now. So let's now look at the introduction in a bit more detail. Now, these are not sentences, these are just things that you need to do. So first of all, you need to paraphrase the question, and we'll look at paraphrasing on Thursday in lesson 4 in more detail. Then you need to state a reason why some people believe the side you disagree with. So remember, we're discussing what other people think. For discussion questions, it's different for other types of questions, but for discussion questions, what we're doing is 3 things. We're discussing what one side thinks, what the other side thinks, and what you think. So you're doing 2 things here. You're stating why some people believe the side you disagree with, and by disagreeing with it, you're giving your opinion. Then you're stating the reason why some people believe the side you agree with. Okay, so you're doing 3 things within the introduction. Doesn't have to be 3 sentences. It might be 2 sentences. It might be 3. It might be 4. Again, don't worry, because I'm going to show you exactly what it looks like. But these are the 3 things that you should be doing. Paraphrasing the question, stating why some people believe the side you disagree with, and then stating the reason why some people believe the side you agree with. Again, don't worry if you don't fully get that. We're going to show you examples. So let's just look at my basic plan. So these are my ideas. Some people think that money should be spent on new railway lines for fast trains because it reduces the journey time for commuters. Okay, so this is the reason, because it reduces the journey time for commuters. This is the reason why some people think this. Okay, and I disagree with this. Some people think that money should be spent on existing public transport because, and here's the reason why they think that, it benefits a greater number of people. And I agree with this. Okay, so what I've done are the 3 things that you should do in a discussion essay. I've discussed one side, I've discussed the other side, and I've given my opinion. So this is just a plan. Let's look at what this looks like in a real sample introduction. So here's the question, and here's my introduction. Many people believe substantial funds should be diverted to the construction of high-speed train tracks, while others say there should be more investment in the current public transportation system. While investing in faster trains would cut journey times, this essay believes that more of the population would benefit from expenditure on buses, trams, and underground rail. Okay, so feel free to pause the video, have a think about that, think about what I've done there, and everything should become much clearer. But what I've done is I've color-coded it here for you. In red, what I've done is just paraphrase the question. In brown here, what I've done is, this is what other people think about the first view that I disagree with. And then in black, this is what other people think about the view that I agree with. Okay, so I've done while, and then put the reason in here. This essay believes that, and then that reason in there. Okay. Now you don't have to stick to the wording exactly. You don't have to use while or this essay believes. There are many other ways that you could do that. But the 3 elements, the 3 things that you need to do are paraphrase the question, state why some people believe one side, and state why some people believe the other side, and give your opinion. And that's how I've done it here. You can copy that if you want. Obviously every question is going to be different, but you don't have to stick rigidly to that formula. But you should include those 3 things. Okay, let's look at the discussion main body 1 structure. So first of all, we're going to start off with a topic sentence. Topic sentence is basically just saying, this is what the paragraph is about. Then we're going to have an explanation. This could be 1 or 3 sentences on why other people believe this. Remember, with discussion questions, we're discussing what other people think and giving our opinion. And then you're going to put an example in. So an example that helps support this main idea. And then finally, you're going to put your opinion in. And you're just going to say, I disagree for this reason. So the first 3 here, what you've done is you've discussed what other people think. And then in the last part, you're giving your opinion. So then in the main body paragraph number 2, you're going to do the same thing, but you're going to agree. and you're going to discuss the other side. All right, hopefully that makes sense. Again, if it doesn't, don't worry, we're going to show you everything. I'm going to show you the whole structure and everything. So let's look at what this looks like in a real sample paragraph. Okay, so here's my first main body paragraph. What I would suggest you do is pause the video and read this and make sure you fully understand it, so that you know what's going on. Because sometimes when you're just listening to me read, you can do that a little bit passively. So pause the video and read it and have a think about it. Okay, so once you've done that, now let's look at what it is, what we're doing here. So in black, this is a topic sentence, and this is just saying to the reader, this is what I'm going to talk about. This is the main theme, the main topic of the whole paragraph. And then this bit in red is explaining what this means in relation to the question. And then this bit in orange is an example to help support this idea. So for example, the British government has plans to install the HS2 network between London and the Midlands in the next few years. That's a very famous thing in the UK at the moment, so that's the one I've used. But you could use it, from any country or any example that you can think of. And then what I put here, the bit in blue, this is my opinion. So the bit in black, red and orange, this is someone else's opinion. I'm discussing that view. And then in blue, I'm giving my opinion. However, this essay disagrees with this viewpoint because it would be a misallocation of resources. So a very, very short explanation, doesn't need to be any longer than one sentence, just your opinion in there. And you've satisfied all of the things you need to do for that side of the argument. And then you would move on to discussion main body 2. Topic sentence, explanation, example, your opinion, and you're going to agree with this. So you're not going to start off with saying, however, I agree with this. You're going to discuss this view, all right, this is what other people think, and then you're going to give your opinion. And you're just going to say, I agree for this reason. And then in the conclusion, you would summarize your main points. So you would say this side and this side, and you would reiterate your opinion. You would make it very, very, very clear. Now, some of you right now are about to say or about to type in, but you have stated your opinion or stated your main ideas too many times. So especially, I'm not going to say which countries because I don't want to pick on anybody, but there's certain countries where the teachers in those countries say you can never repeat anything. You can't repeat anything in any essays. That is nonsense. That goes against what the structure of an essay is. An introduction is, this is what the essay is about. The main body is where we talk about everything in detail. And then the conclusion is, this is a summary of everything that I've just talked about, and here's what I think about that. So inevitably, you must repeat ideas. You have to do that in order to write an effective essay. Go and look at any good essay. Go and look at a academic journal article, whatever subject you can find, and look at the introduction and look at the conclusion, and they will repeat the ideas. The introduction and the conclusion will have the same ideas in it. The reason why a lot of teachers do that is because basically they talk to each other, or I don't know how this happens, but they talk to each other and they confuse the fact that you should try and avoid repeating vocabulary with repeating ideas. So some of you won't believe that because, every single teacher in your country teaches you that. But, it's really important that you do learn it because that's the correct way of doing it. Okay, let's look at the overall plan. So first of all, we're going to start with the introduction. We're going to paraphrase the question. We're going to state why people believe one side, disagree side, shorten the commute. State why people believe other side, benefits more people. Main body 1, topic sentence, commute. Explanation, faster train equals shorter journey times and more jobs. Example, HS2. An opinion is disagree. So my plan, if I was doing the IELTS test, my plan would look like this. It would be as short as this. All right. So what I'd be doing is I'd be just adding in, and I might just put, TSXXOP, intro, MB1, very, very shorthand so that it doesn't take me too much time. And what I'm doing is I'm just populating it with my ideas. So the main body paragraph 2 would look like this. So I would say the topic sentence would be more people, more people get the greater benefit. Example would be the tube, the underground in London. An opinion is I agree. Conclusion, summarize main points above. reiterate opinion. Okay, so it's as simple as that. That would be my full plan. Okay, so I've looked at the question, I've understood it, I've analyzed it, I've thought of ideas, and then I would quickly do this. And this would take in total no more than 5 minutes. Some people spend a bit longer, but don't worry about thinking that it's going to waste time. It actually is going to save you time. You're investing this time so that you can focus just on writing after you've done all this. Because how easy would it be to write an essay if you had all of these different structures, and more importantly, you had practiced this many, many times and you had done it over and over again, so that when you see a question and you see an agree or disagree or discussion or problem solution or whatever it is, you're just like a robot. You're just like, okay, I see that, I'm going to do this, I've thought about it, I've got my ideas, here's my structure, check that, think about it. That's 5 minutes in, 6-7 minutes into the test, and now you have 30 minutes just to sit down and write over 250 words. That is much, much easier than looking at the question and being like, oh my god, I don't know what to do, and then start writing and then delete everything and then go back and then think again. It's just much, much easier to do it in that structured, strategic way that I like to teach to my students. So just to recap, there are 3 stages to planning. Question analysis, we did that yesterday. Idea generation, we did that yesterday. And structure planning. So you see how easy it becomes when you invest the time into thinking about it strategically, practicing using those methods, and then it doesn't matter what question comes up. Obviously, you need to improve your grammar, you need to improve your vocabulary, you need to know how to develop your main ideas, to paraphrase, all of these different things. But you see, by approaching each of these things in a strategic, systemized way, everything becomes much, much easier. So here's your second challenge. Look at the question above and create a structured plan. So the structured plan should look like this. So introduction, main body paragraph 1. So pause the video here and you could maybe copy that into a notebook or take a photo of it or something, and finish off with main body paragraph 2 and your conclusion. Do not write the full essay, just exactly what I've done here, but for this question. So don't do the question that I did. Take this question and do exactly what I did and post it below the video. And if you do that, you're going to be learning how to use that structure, because you don't want to, just look at the structure for a few minutes and then, go and do the test next week and not really be comfortable with it. You want to practice using it, and that's one way to help you do that. So here's some guidance. This is part of a multi-step process. So do not worry that you don't understand enough about developing main ideas, or you don't understand enough about paraphrasing, or you don't understand enough about X, Y, Z. Wait until the end of the course, wait until the end, and then you'll be able to establish what you need help with. There's a lot more help coming, and tomorrow we're going to focus a lot on developing main ideas, so everything is going to become much more obvious as we go through the week. Keep it simple, so don't try and overthink it at the moment. Do the challenge, it's so important, you know that already. And post below this video. Please don't post on the wall or send me an email or send me Facebook messages or something like that. Just post it below the video and I'll see you at 6 p.m. If you can make it at 6 p.m, great. If you can't, don't worry, you can have the feedback. I'll post it up and you can see it whenever you like. Thank you very much, guys. I really appreciate your time. Hope that you enjoyed that lesson. Hope that made everything a little bit more straightforward for you. And as you can see, it doesn't have to be as scary as you think. It can be very simple and very straightforward if you're shown the right way. Thank you very much, guys. Bye-bye.